Hello, my name is Josh Fullenwetter, and this is my final assignment for Red 515. In doing some research for this assignment, I came across an alternative 6 stages of development. First stage is enthusiasm, followed by disillusionment, then panic, then the search for the guilty, then the punishment of the innocent, and lastly, praise and honors for the non participants. Gotta love when you have a building grand opening and people show up for credit and you don't even know their name, so and have never met them. Anyway, as part of Red 515, I'm reflecting on 4 key themes of this class. The first, I'm going to go over the Minto method, followed by 8-stage development model, then delivery methods and team management structures, and then scheduling and project controls. So the Minto memo structure is something that I actually really struggled with in this class, and I really appreciated the feedback that I got throughout this process. It was backwards for me because I felt it was the opposite of like a 5-paragraph essay that we're talking like middle school. 5-paragraph essay goes, here's the problem, here's 3 paragraphs on what that, ideas for it, and then you finish with a conclusion. The Minto memo with the conclusion at the top and then you've still got that supporting document, but that conclusion at the top really threw me off and almost felt a little bit like confirmation bias when I was doing research for it, where you have an idea and you're just looking for ideas that support it. Where I think it can be very helpful though is in communicating to key stakeholders, especially like contractors who just need to know what the next step is, and they don't really need all the other supporting information. They just need the takeaway so they can keep moving forward. And that's really how I intend to use that going forward, is in communication with people who need those takeaways. Following that is the 8-stage development model. 8 stages are idea, your due diligence and early feasibility, followed by second phase of feasibility and obtaining your development rights, then approvals and formalizing commitments, construction and project management, then marketing and lease up, then you're completing the building and you've got your formal opening, and then lastly is your management and operations. So before I just kind of saw it in like 3 buckets: pre-development, construction, and then operations. Pre-development was just kind of this general blob of work that needed to get done. This idea of kind of breaking it down and setting some different milestones along the way so you can kind of kill bad ideas early is really powerful, and I like that idea. And then also it's a great way to say, communicate with board members or other stakeholders at where we are in the process. So I've got 2 projects that I'm working on right now. One, I would say, is I thought it was in stage 2, but really it's in stage 1. Another one is probably late stage 2 and getting ready for stage 3. So I can say that right now and know exactly where those 2 projects are. One's an AC rehab, another one's a ground up development. Next up is delivery methods and team structures. So before, when I was doing it, I was just working with developer consultants on the couple of projects I've worked on, and they just said, okay, here we are, we're going to do an RFP, we're going to hire an architect, we're going to hire GC, we're going to hire civil, all these things. And I was like, yeah, okay, that's just the way it was done. I didn't really think more about it. So this helped me realize that was kind of the design bid build process. This class and then a conference I went to had some really great ideas on using design build for an AC rehab project, really so that the architect and the GC can stay in sync a lot easier and not have me as like a choke point in the communication process, so that when they open up walls in this project that we're hopefully going to do in the next year, that they're right there and they're in sync and they can move on. Of course, there's also CM at risk and IPD, but that design bid is actually the one that I'm really kind of intrigued about moving forward with. And I really think that there's after the fact, after going through this class, that there's a better sense of matching the method of the contract to match what the project complexity needs. Um, and yeah, so I'm really excited about trying something a little bit different on that. Next up is scheduling and project controls. This is CPM, float, resource leveling, PERT. So in my previous experience with the construction phase, and I've only been on that for one project, there was a lot of talk of the critical path. So one of the examples being we ordered our electrical gear before we ever broke ground, and it showed up about 2 weeks before we were ready to open the doors of the building. So it took about 16 months for that to get there, and we checked on it regularly. We wanted updates, we wanted to know where it was at. There were others, critical path items along the way that happened, elevators being a big one that kind of nearly threw us off, but there was some float around it. It wasn't, it was critical path to the completion of the project, but, didn't need elevators to put windows in, that sort of thing. So anyway, that my understanding of that really evolved into what that actually is, and how you can manage that, how the float is managed in there, how you can actually do this resource leveling so that you don't have, workers overtaxed sometimes and underutilized other times. So that was really enlightening on this in this class. So that's the 4. That's Minto, that's the 8th stage, that's the delivery methods, and that's the scheduling tools. Across all 4 of those themes, my thinking kind of shifted from seeing projects as kind of this linear, big, but also like a big blob, into more chunks, smaller chunks that could be managed and manipulated so that you can both manage the risk, manage the timelines, manage your resources and people and all that thing so that you get a more optimal output. I think it's going to help me really in communicating with my GCs, subs, all those people, as well as my architects, and really understand how the contracts are structured. The assignment we did on the actual Pad D, where we looked into the contracts and everything like that, that was really enlightening and helped me understand those contract structures a lot better. So that's it. I'm right at 8 minutes, so thank you so much. This was a great class. I appreciate it.